Hello, my name's Fox97, aka 9-Bit Fox, and over these past 2 weeks that I've been out of town, I've been in Texas, hanging out with my family, stuff like that, and I actually started it off on the plane by, I needed something to watch on the plane there, so I started watching the Avatar: The Last Airbender. This is a show that I have a big appreciation for. This is a show that probably is a big part of my life, similar to something like Dragon Ball Z. Similar to the point of Dragon Ball Z, though Dragon Ball Z I knew for a longer period of time. I would put Avatar. I'd put Avatar maybe around the same time of Kingdom Hearts. Maybe no, Kingdom Hearts is still hot. Kingdom Hearts, Dragon Ball Z. Kingdom Hearts, Dragon Ball Z. Avatar is still in that vicinity. It's a very major part of it that I love about that, and maybe even a lot of the storytelling. More of the stuff, and this is a show that I think is somewhat similar to a lot of other things, where as you learn more about it and as it ages, it gets even better. At least to me, because back in the original time, I'm like, oh, this is cool. You control air, water, fire, and all that stuff. And mind you, air was my favorite element back then. Probably because Aang was the main character, and also because Air was oh cool, you could fly around on this thing, fly with a glider. Guy had a main staff, freaking badass. I watched the entire thing, and this is a show where surprisingly, I haven't seen it for maybe over 10 years, maybe more. And this is a show where I know exactly where I stopped watching. I stopped watching it at the Day of Black Sun because I think it was an event thing. The next episode was going to come at some point, and I just stopped watching for some reason. I'm like, oh, well, I guess that's near the end of the show. Turns out it's not. There's still another 10 episodes after that episode. It's okay. But there's a lot of episodes that I immediately oh, I remember this episode. A lot, majority of it. The only parts that I didn't really remember all that much were maybe the After the Day of Black Sun episode. After the Day of Black Sun episode, or during that part, those are the parts that I didn't really know. I knew some of it. I knew stuff spoilers for the show, go watch it. Zuko eventually joining up with Aang to teach him firebending. Which, mind you, watching the entire show through that light, knowing that Zuko would eventually become good, and seeing all the struggles he goes through and all, I'm that's really freaking cool. Zuko alone is also a really good episode as well. And all that stuff. It's a damn good show. I love that show. Iroh's freaking badass. He's a badass all over. I love especially watching it all back. Oh my god, Iroh's seen so many different things, or knew so many different things that you're huh, alright. This is a definitely show where rewatching it again after knowing some bits gets really good. And, I watched the whole show. I loved it all the way to the end. And then, I was kind of dreading, because I bought, originally I saw it all on Netflix, but then I bought, the collector's edition that had both Aang's story and Korra's story. Technically, it's the same story, because Aang is Korra, as well as Korra being Aang, Roku, and everyone behind all the way back to the first Avatar, but let's get beside that. And all I heard were bad things. My friend said, oh, this show is garbage, all that stuff. And, I even heard some bits about it, so spoilers again for that. But, certain things happen where, certain past avatars kind of disappear. Or, some people, I don't know, some of the things were weird. And I was like, all right, well, let's watch it. And watching it, I was like, this show's kind of great. The fight scenes are really good. Definitely very damn good. Fights are really damn good. They continue with the same thing, because again, one of the cool things about Avatar: Last Airbender, which I thought when I saw way back when, which kind of taught me a little more, hey, they're not just punching at each other. They're actually using martial arts, different martial arts to, bend the elements and stuff like that. I'm that's cool. And in this one, also different things where I don't know where the books are, but I had Avatar: Last Airbender books that kind of talked more about it. But stuff like firebending is more of an offensive ability. Firebending is more of an offensive ability, as well as, if I remember correctly, earthbending is as well. The earthbending is more like being a tank, but also like dishing out damage. Firebending is quick, rapid fire movements. Waterbending is obviously, I think they said that's more defensive, but then that is also more utilitarian because it can turn to ice and steam, as well as like manipulate either blood bending or like water and vines. And then air is more freedom. That one is straight defense, movement, and stuff like that. There are no big destructo attacks and stuff like that. But and I really like all that, and I like seeing Aang slowly become like super strong with like, well, not even super strong, but becoming stronger over like what is that, a month technically, like half a year. I can't remember how long it technically takes, like 3 months I think, to learn, not master, because he hasn't mastered them, but learn how to use the elements. And I think he masters Avatar State by the end. I can't remember. I think it's still triggered by like emotions more, but it's really damn good. And then I heard Legend of Korra, and like I remember watching a little bit of the first episode where you see her as a little girl summoning earth, fire, or using earth, fire, and then a little bit of water. I'm like, and then like I think all I heard was bad things. Like I never watched the show, and so that's a lot of backup. But I never really watched the show, and when and I was like, that's kind of dumb. Like, why isn't she learning all the elements of that? And then actually, after watching the show, it's like, one, yeah, she had an affinity for two more elements that she was supposed to learn. Technically, Aang even used a little bit of firebending before he actually learned firebending. But she does train from basically when she's that little all the way to when we see her when she's like 17. So like she's been training for maybe like 10 years, I want to say. Maybe, yeah, around 10 years or so. 10, 12 years to basically Avatar. And what I love is definitely, one, I love the new setting. I love Republic City, which is basically it's basically New York City for the Avatar Nation, but also it's kind of, because I've seen movies like, I'm not sure how accurate they are, but I think somewhat accurate. Shit, what was it, P-Man? No, that's probably not right. It's the, shit, what was it, Wu Man? Ip Man, that was it, Ip Man, where it takes place during a similar time period, I think, where it's like Americanisms are kind of slowly feeding into the rest of the world, especially in places like Japan or China and stuff like that. And that's really what Republic City is. It has that kind of thing. You even have those fast talking radio hosts and stuff like that. Giving the news, get a left for a right, uppercut. I love that. I love like the world of it itself. I loved the giant statue of Aang, because all the avatars had some kind of statue for them, and I love that Aang's is Republic City. Like his statue's there in Republic City, as well as it's like the Statue of Liberty there. I loved that bit, and I loved like even like later on, because they have professional bending where it's earth, water, and fire versus another earth, water, fire team. And what I love about that too is like they add in a little bit of boxing too, like showing like it doesn't have to be the traditional fighting of firebending or traditional fighting of earthbending, but you can even have other martial arts in there to change it, which even Iroh even kind of showed with using waterbending techniques to create a lightning or firebending technique, which is technically lightning. Stuff like that, to redirect lightning, stuff like that. It's pretty damn fucking cool. And like I liked that bits. I liked the idea behind the Avatar, the one who's kind of like the spiritual leader of the world or guardian, in a more modern setting where it's like, yeah, the world has kind of moved away from spiritualism and is kind of more now, obviously, industrialized, science, and stuff like that. Yeah, there is obviously still spiritualism with benders, and, like, you can see the mix of everything creating, like, gangs of benders and stuff like that. It's really cool to see, like, that cool idea of that. And as you see Korra go on, which Neo Dusk, I think, was the one who made the comic, where he kind of explains a little more. Like, some people said, like, the reason why Last Airbender was a bit more. I guess I don't know. I guess they said like Aang felt more complex was because the world was kind of against his morality, while Korra in the few seasons, especially the first two, she was kind of more in her element, where it's like, yeah, she's an avatar that, one, unlike Aang, wants to do her duty, wants to be the avatar, loves fighting, and is skilled in it. Is extremely skilled in it, which I love. You can see that even in Korra's fighting styles, where she uses firebending, which I love seeing firebending be used, but firebending be used for, like, the good guys, but seeing her use firebending is cool because when she uses it, you see, like, she's using firebending as offensive, which is good. She's using the element that is best suited for offense in that, and then using, earth for defense. She uses water every so often. I think she uses it more for pro bending, but water bending, I don't think she uses water bending too much. She uses it every so often, but I think firebending was her major. Firebending and earthbending were like her major bending styles, and they're really damn good. I was like, fuck yeah, that's awesome. The first two seasons, and like a cool thing about Korra, because again, first Avatar, freaking amazing, awesome show, and it follows throughout this entire war. While in Legend of Korra, every book or season either grows Korra as an avatar and also is more along the lines. It grows Korra as an avatar different from Aang, where Aang was more spiritual immediately and slowly is learning how to, physical more with the elements. Korra is more along the lines of she doesn't have really spirituality. She's good more with the physical. She wants to be the avatar, and she's stopping more wars before they begin. Where Aang was trying to stop a war that had begun for however long, Korra is trying to stop the wars before they begun. And also, I love this one theory someone brought up. I can't remember which one it was for Roku, but that each avatar is the opposite, or the next avatar is always the failing of the first avatar. Where I think that was it. Where Roku didn't try to help his friends stop it or something like that. Aang has all of his friends help him stop this war. And where Aang didn't want to be the Avatar at the beginning and, took a while to learn. Well, not even took a while. He learned it within like a few months. Korra needed years, but still. Where Aang didn't want to be the Avatar, Korra wants to be the Avatar. She wants this job. She wants to help people. I love that theory, but Legend of Korra was pretty damn good. I'm going to say that, pretty damn good. I love the idea of knowing that basically Korra and Asami do get together by the end, like very end, but in the books, fuck. They're just like, it opens so much with like those two together. I'm like, that's kind of damn adorable. But even like which is surprising enough in Airbender, I was surprised like how much like they show like Zuko with Mei, or like showing actual relationship. I'm like, that's kind of amazing, especially with Zuko bits where Zuko was very much like he gave up everything to go save it, to go help Aang and stop this war. He gave up his girlfriend. He gave up his home. Basically, he gave up the father that he was basically trying to make him approve and stuff like that. He gave up everything to go help Aang. And I love that. But yes, like Korra, like even though like there's some bits that I wish were better. Like one, like I like a little bit more. I like Korra's more because a lot of it is more gray. I think where season 1, she fights the Equalists, who want basically because benders are kind of getting better jobs, I guess, or something like that. Like they're a lot stronger, or they're running the government kind of sense, and they're like, us regular humans should help too. I'm like, but our regular humans should do this, and we're being oppressed. Turns out the main guy was I won't spoil that, but also then that the main leader of the Equalists is like, one, it's a straight terrorist group, and also like they use what do you call it? He has an ability that can take away bending, and like, okay, that's kind of cool, and like a little bit of like that's pretty badass. Season 2 deal is a lot more gray too, where like the main bad guy first is like, yeah, they're dark spirits in the South Pole, because your people don't really like try to make them like try to have any spiritual semblance and everything met. And like when everything opens up and it's like, I kind of see what he's going with. Like if the spirits are pissed off because we're not taking care of the land and stuff like that, I'm kind of agreeing with the bad guy. And then until the bad guy starts like, and then the bad guy's like, well, we're gonna try to bring order and peace today. I'm like, this is sounding kind of bad, but also I don't know what's worse, either the humans or the spirits coming to eat people. Until this guy goes straight evil, and then, but also even then, like you even get more backstory on like the first Avatar, which was cool. My only issue, and that's actually it's not even an issue. Spoilers for Legend of Korra. This one, go watch it later. Basically, Korra, towards the end of it, like after learning like how the Avatar was made, basically, it's half human, half spirit. The spirit of light, basically. The spirit of light gets killed, but you can't kill light because it'll always be within darkness, and vice versa. Eventually, she pulls out, puts the light back inside of her. It's pretty damn good. But like she loses her connection to the avatars, her past avatars, her past lives. I shouldn't say past avatars, her past lives, because I think what people say like, well, Korra's not as good as Aang. I'm like, Korra is Aang. Korra is Roku. Korra is what is her name? The Earthbender one. Kyoshi. She is everyone all the way down to Wu. Like, that is Korra. That is Aang. And I will say, like, I think Last Airbender had some really good, like, tearing moments. Appa, the Iroh story. There's some really good ones there. But I will say, like, I think this one had some cool characters where, like, I want to bring up the crime bit later, but there's some cool characters in this one, like Aang's kids, basically like Boomy, which named after King Boomy. Like that's cool, but he's not a bender. One of them's a water. Aang's daughter was a waterbender. I believe it was his youngest. Tenzin is the airbender, and he spent more time with the airbender one, which I kind of get, if only because Aang probably doesn't really know like I don't know how to treat kids who aren't airbenders, because I was an airbender, so to me, this one, it's not an excuse. Aang was kind of still of a dick father, but it is still a little more complex, I think. But what was I going with? But basically, like, Korra losing her connection to her past lives, I'd be okay with if third season she tried to get it back, but after releasing the spirits, which, like, they go more into spirits on the second season, which I love. Season 3, they have where spirits are now living on Earth, and also the massive amount of spiritual energy has brought rise to more airbenders. Though I will say season 3, for me, at least the beginning parts were the weakest. The ending part was damn good. Season 4, book 4 was the best one. Book 4 was, I think, the best one. I love Kuvira. I love Kuvira. Kuvira's badass. Korra, Asami, and Kuvira are badasses. And I do like that. Apparently in the comics, she's pops up more. I'm like, hell yeah. But that one was a lot more warlike. Shit, where was I going with this? Oh, but Korra, I wish season 3 was okay. You could kind of maybe you have that whole bit of trying to track down the Airbenders because they're trying to rebuild the Air Nation because people are just appearing with Airbending thing and they're trying to bring them now into the Air Nation. I would have loved to see Korra trying to regain that try to regain that what am I trying to say? Trying to regain her past lives. Give me a minute. Sorry, back. But basically I would have loved to see season 3. Like, you still have the whole bit with the Air Nation, but Korra trying to regain her memories like that, which some people say like, oh, she needed to lose her past life so it could be her show and not Aang's show. It's like, that's like saying in Doctor Who, the 11th Doctor has to forget who the 10th Doctor was and beyond because it would make it the 10th Doctor's show. It's like, no! They're the same damn character. Mind you, I'm not saying that like personality-wise, no. Again, I say similar to something like Doctor Who, where the main character changes periodically, kind of, but it's the same character. It's still the same character. It's still Doctor Who. And in this, it's still Korra, it's still Aang, it's still Korra, it's still Roku. Which I would say like Korra maybe towards the end, like it is kind of like, oh, she has a problem. It's gonna be solved kind of by the end of it. Kind of, it felt very not sitcom-y. What is the show's called? The Arrowverse kind of thing, like that kind of stuff. A little bit. I say this was still way better than a majority of those shows, but a little bit. It was kind of like that. But I will say I still love the hell of it. I love enjoy it. I love seeing Korra go. Korra was more of a full-fledged Avatar than we saw Aang. Because Aang was Avatar in training up until the end. Where then, yeah, he's gained some power, but he's not even close to being done, like, training. While Korra, she's basically mastered firebending, she's mastered earthbending, she's mastered waterbending over a, again, 13-year time gap, I want to say. And then, like, now she's okay at airbending. She's not even that good at airbending. She's okay at it, but she even is able to access the Avatar state after Aang basically helps her with it. And I would have loved to see more stuff with that. Like, I think the scene that made me cry or like have such a teary-eyed moment was when Korra met Toph. Because one thing that I love about the reincarnation idea is that, in a sense, Korra is Aang. Korra is Aang. Korra is Katara's late husband. Korra is Zuko's, basically best friend. And in a sense of, but like, you never, like, even though, like, Aang was a good, like, they treat like he's dead, but like, technically, Aang's still alive. That is Korra. And even though, like, you can't, I wouldn't say treat her exactly like that or like that, but I do like that. But the one bit I liked most was when Korra meets Toph, because obviously Korra doesn't know who she is yet. But I love what Toph says, like, no matter what face or life you take or something, I can't remember what it was, I'll always remember those feet, twinkle toes, or something like that. And I'm like, oh, I'm like, hell yeah! I would have loved more if Toph would have kept calling Korra twinkle toes. I would have loved it, because that's a little bit where Toph's like, yeah, you might be a different face. Hell, you might not even remember who I am, but I know one of my best friends. I know that's you, Aang. I know that's you, Korra. Like, and mind you, that's not saying in the sense of, oh, it's Aang's show, or you don't want it to be Korra's show. No, I want it to be Korra's show, but I want it to be where it's the Avatar show, where it is all the Avatars. I love the bits where, Korra being more of a full-fledged Avatar, I prefer than her starting over and resetting, because I've watched the Paranormal Activity movies. After a while, it just keeps repeating over and over again. I like that they're like, no. This time, we're having an Avatar who's almost completely trained, but she's gonna, use a mix of fire, earth, water, and then air at the end. The first season at least. Like, I wanted to see, and I got that. And one that could activate the Avatar state almost on will, rather than just waiting. Rather than just, okay, well, extreme stress, though she does activate extreme stress, which it was pretty cool. Season 1, Amon was badass. 2 was this guy, he wasn't that good of a villain. I feel like he was more of a secondary villain to the main big bad, which is the evil spirit of darkness. But he was a good gray villain, I want to say, where he felt like, yeah, what he was doing was kind of also trying to help the world, but then he kind of fucked up. Zahir, I kind of agree with Zahir's philosophy. It's like, yeah, the reason why people are fucked up is because we have borders, and people say, oh, I'm better than you, and governments are like, oh, I want to be in power, and that kind of fucks over the whole system, which it does. I'm not gonna lie, that what fucks over balance with nature and everything. Mind you, again, like, I do like in the third Sunday, I think was it Rava who said it? Someone told her, said, I can't remember who, that basically, extremes, but still, like, yeah. And then at the end, Kuvera, where she was kind of like a nega version of Korra, and that was pretty cool too. That was pretty cool. She's trying to bring peace through, control, while everything was going. Like I don't know. Like Avatar, again, Avatar is one of my favorite shows. The Airbender was one of my favorite shows. I have like a big toy Appa. I probably have the other old toys over there. I bought this over while I was over there. Apparently they got like a new Zuko toy, and like they have Zuko with his hair, and he looks the most badass. But I loved all that. That was so damn cool. It was so damn like fun. Like that show was fun, and Korra has that too. The Korra, the animation is like on the level of when you watch an anime movie. That is like you watch a regular anime like Yu-Gi-Oh. It's like, oh there, Kaiba. Then like there's a lot of standing around. Like I was honestly like amazed sometimes when you see Yami Yugi running, or the episode where like he dates Taya and is like walking around. I'm like, oh my god, I love this. Like it's not just him just standing there. Now mind you, maybe Yu-Gi-Oh's not the best one, but Legend of Korra, like I don't know, there's more movement, there's more action. There's so much fluidity to it. Seeing more of the fighting style, seeing Korra do basically mixed martial arts with the different doing with boxing, the fire bending, earth bending, water bending, all that stuff. It was so damn good. And then having like some giant battles at the end where I'd say again season 3 I think was the weakest for me of Legend of Korra, though it does have one of the best fight scenes at the end. And then book 4 I think was like best overall. Book 1 was really good. Book 2 was good as well. The best thing I can say is if you're going from Avatar to Last Airbender to Legend of Korra, see it more as obviously it's in the same universe, but it's a different story. You're not gonna where the Avatar is more fantasy mystical. Legend of Korra there is sparse fantasy mystical, though obviously there's still bits of it, but it's more like a first season definitely like a gang caper, and then it's like something like Gangs in New York almost, and then season 2 is more. That one is the more spiritual one. 3, it's spiritual, but also like I guess more diplomatic. I think kind of one. Again, like everything, each of them is like almost trying to stop a war. I guess there's more Secret Society season 3, and then the last one is just straight like war, like World War II kind of thing, and it's pretty badass. But yeah, that's my thoughts on it. I love I love Avatar: Last Airbender. I love The Legend of Korra as well. I honestly am happy. I bought the books for Last Airbender, but I also had the Legend of Korra book. I have down here actually the first one that takes place like right after the show, like literally right after the show. It opens with Asami and Korra taking a vacation in the spirit world and all that stuff, and it's pretty damn good. Even that bird dragon thing that's kind of a dick in season 4. Which I'll say that's another thing about that one. It's like how much Korra wants to bring the spirits in. The spirits are like no, you humans are want to fight. No, we're not helping you. Which I guess it's more complex, I guess. But even then, I'm like, you're not helping the case of humans wanting to like you. But like it follows that along, and even like builds on things like humans being possessed by a spirit, like gain like part of that spirit's power, basically. And it's really damn good. I can't wait for the other books to come out. I'm getting like the big library edition, so I gotta wait till like September for like the next Korra one. But Avatar one, hopefully, I don't know, that one comes out in September. Comes to me at September because things are just shit. But I can't wait to read them. But thanks for watching. Please check out those 2 shows. I would say I want another Avatar show, but the problem with that, I think, is that it would be, like, I want to see more Korra. I guess how I want it is, we have Aang, we have Korra, give us another female, give us a female earthbender, or no, I guess it would have to be male because we have Kyoshi. No, I guess it wouldn't have to. Either one doesn't matter. I want to see, I want it to go full circle. I want one airbender one, which is Aang. We have waterbender, which is Korra. Then Earthbender, which, but still, Earthbender, and then I want to see all the way go back up to a Firebender. And then, just, I want to see how it goes. Give us like a JoJo kind of esque thing, but each of them taking like in a different almost time period of everything. I guess Firebender would be the closest one to like now, I would guess. But then again, like, what does now look like in Avatar world? But yeah, the show's cool. I liked it. Tell me what you guys think. Thank you for watching. Show videos I've done. The links are on my Facebook on this upcoming videos, and we will see you later. But no, yeah, I freaking love Legend of Korra as well as Avatar. It's so freaking good.